Hi there, and welcome to week 11 of Show Me the Money review. How's it going, Craig?
Good evening, Johnny. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. So we're at week 10 reviews. We're on week 11 now. I can't lose track.
What,
Not week
what a
11,
big
we're
week
on to
it
week
was.
12 next. We've got 3 weeks to go after this one.
Well, it's 3 weeks to go, including this one. But that's week 11 review. But yeah, it was a big week this week. There was a couple of big wins, and there was a couple of big Monday night turnarounds, which turn games around, and a couple of very close ones as well that you'll know yourself. So big week was week 11.
Yeah, there was a big week. But we'll start with not a surprise because obviously Graham's the high flyer, but I'll get us on a different screen. Hold on, where are we going?
Yeah, I mean it's. That's Graham 9-2 now. You know he's flat. The biggest surprise for me here was he didn't crack the 100 this week. You know that's something that he's done more often than not. But I mean it's a bad loss for Grote, but for Varsity Blues and Grote. But at the same time, it's an expected loss, and 70 points isn't a disaster. You know when it's non PPR. So yeah, great win for Graham though. He's flying now. He's on his way to playoffs. You know, Derek Carr's scored them pretty well, I think, in the week, didn't he?
Yeah,
It's,
and obviously Barkley.
21. You know, he's going along fine, but Barkley's pounding it in for him. I'm gutted that I dropped him, Johnny. Man, how stupid
That's
was that?
crazy. James Cook, 20 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 7 receiving yards, 14 points. Just the bottom down here, McLaurin only got 1 catch. Pitts got 1 catch. Cooper didn't do much. But obviously, it's the top half that got it for him. Carr, Barkley, and Cook.
I mean, that's that. I mean, Carr, Barkley, and Cook is, and the thing about with Hunt down there as well. Pacheco's going to be back soon, and I think when Pacheco comes back, it certainly puts Hunt into number 2. But I'm not sure how many touches he'll get if Pacheco comes back fit and rolling, you know. But he does have Chubb sitting there on the bench. He's got Kyler Murray sitting there on the bench, you know.
Watson had a good
so
game.
Carr's come in as a replacement, and he's done him fine, you know. And then he's got White there coming back off bye week this week as well. So I mean, it's all about the playoffs for Graham now. There's no ifs, no buts, no maybes. On the other side, however, the Varsity Blues, they're now 5 and 6. They've got a hard run in because it's the North Division's the one that's flying this year. So they've got a hard run in, and it's starting to look like Grote might be right after all, and he'll end up in the consolations. But he's not dead yet. He's got a massive game this week. He needs to beat Doug this week. If he doesn't beat him back, so we trust he's gone. But Herbert's now starting to look the part. Mattison's probably going to be out this week, I believe.
Possibly.
Walker's doing really well. He's going to need Dell to start. He's going to need Dell to show up. He's going to need Gazaki to show up. He's going to need Hopkins to show up. You know, if they can all show up, he's got a great chance of making the playoffs.
Thing is, though, Gazaki only shows up when Higgins doesn't play.
I know that's his problem.
But he's got Isaiah Likely in the thing. He got a few catches. Obviously, he did fumble, but Williams on the bench.
I mean, he's got Addison on the bench as well. He's got Williams on the bench. He's got options, you know, and he's got Walker covered with Charbonnet. So, I mean, it's not like even Coleman will be back. You know, I don't know when he'll be back, but he'll be back soon enough, you know. So he has options there, and he's going to need to make sure that he does play the right starters because, as I say, it's a big game this week, and he can't afford any more mistakes at 5 and 6.
Yep. Shut up, Alan. You were the one. You were the one that was messaging me, worried I was going to beat you when your team was far better than mine. So I don't know where the fuck the tears are coming from. Maybe from you, but maybe in this game is where the tears came from. The showman and back we taught 92.24 up against the old Batman's boobies, 115.48. It was a bit Ray looked pretty good there. Obviously McCaffrey didn't do much, but like it was the same with a lot of them. They didn't play a lot. They took about 2 or 3 games, 4 games before they came back to full strength. So obviously maybe this week or the week after, you're hoping it's not this week when they're playing the Packers, but maybe next week he'll come back and fire on all cylinders. But yeah,
defending the back, the running backs well again this year, it's a problem. So no, I can see him having a big game this week. You know, it's no getting away from it. But I mean,
Taysom Hill.
Doug get Taysom Hill, didn't he? He get Taysom Hill. It's as simple as that. But I mean,
Yeah,
Ray just doesn't know when it's over, does he? He doesn't know when to give up, and you know, he's turning not a whole lot into something, you know. He's doing it so well. But I mean, there's no getting away from the fact this was a Taysom Hill job, and obviously Puka's doing really well for him now, and having him and McCaffrey back, it's going to make a big difference in the run in. At 5-6, he's got every chance of getting in now, you know, every chance of getting in. And it would be great to see the boobies in the playoffs, but
oh, definitely. We said his son drafted for him.
It's a great win for him, and you know, for Doug, it's one of those ones, isn't it? He's rolled the dice for the second year in a row. He's made the moves, and he's paid handsomely for Hurts, and he's paid a little bit for Kelsey. So he's made the move again, and he's lost. He was expecting to win this game. There's no getting away from it. He would have fully expected to win this game, and he got Taysom Hill. So,
but he still's got 92 points in a non-PPR is a good score. I mean, it just came up against
a good score, and
Taysom
it's
Hill.
nothing to. It's not the loss that's going to hurt. It's not the loss that's going to hurt as much as the position that it's now put him in with 3 tough games to finish the season. You know, so yeah, I mean he's far from a lock to make the playoffs, but should he get himself into the playoffs? It's a team that can do a lot of damage in them. You know, it's a strong squad that he's got there now, and it's not just the starters. He's got a decent bench as well. So there is absolutely every chance. You know, he's got Neighbours to come back. He's got Ertz sitting there on the bench who's doing just fine and will do the rest of the season.
Collins.
He's got a good choice of defences, you know, because he's got the Packers and Steelers, and the Packers have been a decent defence, just not against the run, you know. But defending the run doesn't really help you in fantasy, does it? It's interceptions and such that you want.
How's it going, Martin?
Hey, Martin, how you doing? So, yeah, and he's got Collins there as well, coming back off IR, and that's going to be huge come playoff time, having Collins back. And, you know, by the time the playoffs come around, he should be firing all cylinders.
I'm not too sure about I'm not too sure how Neighbours is going to do when DeVito's throwing the ball to him.
It's one of those ones, though, Johnny. Neighbours is special. Neighbours is special. They'll find a way to get him the ball. Someone's going to have to catch him. DeVito's not going to. The old DeVito, he's not going to go for 0 yards. Do you know what I mean? He's going to have to find someone, and it'll likely be Neighbours. So I think Neighbours will do just fine, but he might not even bring him in. You know, he doesn't have to at the moment. He's got AJ Brown in there, and he's got Jennings, who's the 49ers #1 receiver really now, isn't he? So he's got the lockout option as well if he wanted to go for it. I know he's not done well this week, but you know he has his big games, and there'll be better games for him coming up than San Francisco. So yeah, it's solid for Doug. If he gets in, he's dangerous. So I think the whole entire league will be hoping that Sean, me, and Grote can keep him out.
Well, except for us in the bottom half. So talking about yourself there, we've got the Copenhagen Jets 50.56 up against the Show Me the Packers 96.68. So that gets you up to 7-4. And Mark down to 4-7. So it's a nice win for you.
It was absolutely essential that I won this one, Johnny. It was absolutely essential because of the run in. Obviously, you know, if I'd went into the last 3 games, what would that be, 6-5 rather than 7-4? I probably wouldn't have got in, you know, because you can see the team, it's fragile, you know. The team is fragile, but it's a good win. You know, Mark's one of the, you know, his team are absolutely boom or bust, and thankfully this week it was a bust.
It was a big
you know, Bijan didn't show up. Rogers done okay, but not to Wilson. Pearsall got nothing after the big week before. The tight end number 3 that I was so gleefully reminded by Mr. Baxter had another goose egg. Worthy done okay, but you know, it wasn't great for him. I mean, it was an easy enough win in the end. It never looked in doubt from the get-go, but it was all down to Jared Goff. Thank you for coming back, sir. It's a playoff problem I've got with Goff, though, in that the lines are going to be kind of on downtime by the time our playoffs come around, you know. But I'm so relying on Stevenson, Achan, and Taylor staying fit, because if one of them goes down, I have absolutely no. I mean, the backup's the Gus bus, you know, so I'm not holding down much hope there. But I've done enough to get the win this week. 96 points is very decent, and that's with -3 from the defence. So I'm happy with where I'm at. I just wish I had a wee bit of a stronger squad.
Yeah, but you've not traded
And
up to. You're still not. You're still okay for next year. You've not thrown away next year to win this year.
no, I've not made a single trade, so I'm good there. And I've got keeper options as well there. You know, obviously, Achan will be a keeper again. Taylor probably will be as well, but I've got that Brian Thomas option as well, because he's only going to get stronger, I believe. So I'm going to have keeper options for next year, but I've not sold next year down the river, because I don't think I'm competitive this year. I think I'm going to get in, but I don't think I'm going to be competitive in the playoffs. I think I will be beaten pretty easily, you know. So, but we'll see what happens. You know, you never know. But I mean, market 4-7. You know, you'd think 4-7 you'd be out of it, and most leagues you would be out of it. But he's one game out of the playoff spots. You know,
I know
the playoff spots currently held by 5 and 6. So
it's a bit crazy.
he's got every chat. You know, he's got 3 games. He's got the 3 divisional games now. You know, so he's going to have to beat who Farks, you know, who are 9-2. He's going to have to beat them. But if he can find a win in that one, he's, you know, three. If he wins out, he's got a good shout at getting in. He has to win out now.
The next up, I got the Factory of Sadness 96.74 against the 96.08 Tartan Bears. So that's a bit of a sore. Was this a Monday night job? Was it?
This was a Monday night turnaround. This was a
Lucky
Monday
kid.
night turnaround, and the turnaround was it wasn't anything that Sean done on Monday night. Sean was finished. The big problem is the big problem that I've been talking about Joe having all season long, and it's right there in quarterback, because CJ Stroud needed 10.88 points or something or so
Not
to
even
get
that.
him the win.
Yeah.
You know, he's lost by less than a point, so 10.5 points would have won him the match. And despite winning 34-10, Stroud only gets 9.88 points, because all the touchdowns went to
Joe
Mixon. And
Mixon.
of course, leaving John O. Smith on the bench was cost them the match as well. You know, that was a. I mean, let's not forget that it's you cannot play a tight end in the flex in this league. So
No.
it was Goddard or Smith. What one do you go with? It's a coin toss at this moment in time. So he went with Goddard, and he went with the wrong one.
Yeah, other than
And
that,
that's
nothing really made a difference. It was just that was the difference there. He does
yeah.
he hasn't got another quarterback. That's the thing. So he's only playing the one he's got, and I don't think there's much in agency, to be honest.
I
But
mean, even at that, John, he's coming into this game, and he's coming into this game thinking, "Oh, this is a loss." Look at the defending champion, Factory of Sadness. They're sitting 7-3, and they've been trading up for a super squad. They've now got I'm facing Darnold, Henry, Jones, Mooney, Chase, and Njoku, Metcalf, Fairbairn, and the Rams D. What a team I'm facing! I'm not going to win this
and the
game.
bench,
And the whole
Cade
entire
Otton on
week,
the bench.
the whole week it looked like he was going to win. The whole weekend it looked like he was going to win it. You know, he was right in it all the way, and he got him. And you know, he's right behind him, knowing full well he's got his quarterback to come on Monday night. And you know, Sean he didn't score. You know, Mooney getting him nothing, and you know, Metcalf not doing too great, Jones not doing too great. You know, he's been knocking 100 points out left, right, and centre, but he's under 100 this time. He left the door open, and all that Darton Bears had to do was just Stroud just march through that door and go and get yourself a wee 10.5 pointer. And Joe would have woke up on Tuesday morning. He would have, do you know what he would have done? He would have woke up and he would have looked at the score and he would have went, "Yeah, dancer."
He's
Then
probably
he would
still
have
in
woken up
shock, to
here
be
and
honest.
started crying. But he's, you know,
No,
he's been right up there, Joe, for the last couple of years now. You know, he's he's got his title in the bank, but at 4-7, again, he's only one game out of playoff spots. I would say he has to win out, so that means he's going to have to beat Graham.
But Graham could have been off week. You could be playing on week 12 or week 14 with the buys.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It can absolutely happen. If that's the week that you get him, it's good luck. So, but at 4-7, he has to win out, and if he wins out, then he's got a shout at getting in. But it's a long way. And as for Sean, I mean, we've said it already. It's a super team, innit? It's someone's going to have to stop him. We can't be having anyone going back to back. That's just not
then
cricket.
the
Do you know
thing
what
is,
I mean?
if he comes out with a score where he has a few players that don't show up like this week up against me, Graham, or yourself, or Doug if he gets in, or whoever, even Alan Sim, who had a good game this week, he's going to lose. So again, you have to all show up. And in their playoffs in this one, like you say, 8 seed beats 1 seed quite a lot.
I mean, look at me. I rolled into the playoffs 11-3 last year, number 1 seed. Happy days, super team, absolutely fantastic squad. They've been scoring over 100 points every single week, and then they came out and scored 58, and I get pumped off a mark, And it's like, and that was my worry this week as well, because that's what happened in the quarters. I know I said in my report it was Eskimo Brothers, but it wasn't. It was Mark that beat me, and so it easily can happen. We really need it to happen, and Sean's got a way of finding the right squad at the right starters at the right time. He's a 4-time champion, so he knows what he's doing come playoff time. So someone's got to stop him. No, someone's got to stop him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But who? That's the question. It could possibly be our new regular season number 1. Levin in a prayer, 124.3 up against the hide and seek. Graham's dream team, 93.84. So with all those early picks, he's now sitting at 4-7, and Michael's number 1 seed at 9-2. And that's with Drake May as his quarterback. Although I think he's looking for a new quarterback if anybody's selling. But yeah.
It has been the only stickling point of his team has been the quarterback. But I mean, he's finding the right ones, plugging them in.
Because he started had Prescott, but then he lost him. So
yeah, it's but good, because we need a hole in that team. You know what I mean? Although here's the thing. He has won the regular season so often that no one can deny that he's due a title. He really is. It just always seems to fall apart at playoff time. And again, I mean, you look at the team and you think that's such a good team. How is that going to be beaten? But there are a couple of teams that look like that at the moment. So that is there, but it's the options on the bench as well, and I always go on about it. I think the best thing that could happen to his team actually is Prescott going on IR. I think Drake May will do him just fine through the playoffs, because he's going to be out there competing. Even though the Patriots aren't going to be chasing the playoffs, he needs a game time. He needs to be out there playing, for his career. So he's going to be playing hard through the playoffs, and that's a big thing. He's got Tracy coming back off bye week. He's now got Thielen coming back off IR, if that helps in any way whatsoever. He's got Pollard sitting there on the bench, who often scores a lot of points. He's got such a good team. And he's found the knack during the regular season always of putting the right starters in at the right time. Can he find the knack of doing it in the playoffs this year?
Yeah,
we'll need to wait and see.
With 33 points. But no, it's a great win. I'm guessing that was 33 points. Maybe all of that was just what won the game. I can't remember.
It's just so harsh for Graham. Look at the team that he's got, and it's just not showing up for him. It must be so frustrating. But again, he's 4-7. You're right, but this is the 4-7 team for me that can still get in. That has still got a great shout of getting in. The other 4-7 teams, there's too many holes. They score 50, 60 points far too often. This is the 4-7 team that can make it. If these guys can just catch a little bit of fire, Daniels should be doing better than that with his legs, and will do. Williams has been off for a couple of weeks now. He can never get them all going. He always gets one or two, flying. It's cup this week for him, with that big massive touchdown.
Yeah.
You know,
Flowers are late
Flowers has
touchdowns.
had a wee bounce back this week a little bit, you know, but he needs them all to show up in the same week, and then when they do, he'll be unbeatable.
Definitely, especially with that bench, Harrison, Bucks defense, which you imagine you'll play against the Giants this week.
Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
think,
And see, if you look at the running, and he got this from Fantasy Footballers, by the way, because I went to do the same thing, and he got there first, the cheeky git. But it was pointed out that if you're chasing playoffs, the 3 games that the Bucks have got, weeks 12, 13, and 14 after their bye week, go pick them up. People will drop them on the bye week to get someone in if they've got them, you know, because they drop the defense for defense. Go pick up the Bucks, because in the last 3 games they've got the Panthers, they've got the Giants, and they've got someone else that's really, really bad in the run-in. You don't want them for the playoffs, because the 3 games in the playoffs are really are harder ones. But if you need a team, a defense to get you into the playoffs, the Buccaneers are the ones. So he's went and picked them up, and he will plug them in now, I would imagine. But I mean, he needs to win out. He needs his players to show up, and more importantly than that, he needs to make sure he can't afford any more slip-ups in the starting lineup. He has to name his strongest starting lineup, and he's rarely done it this year. But it's very difficult to do it when you've got that many players that can score points. You know.
yeah, that's a problem. It's too good a team.
You know, it's it can be a curse. It can be a curse. Now, I got the curse in the playoffs last year. He's had the curse in the regular season, but if he can sneak in, he'll be dangerous. You know,
Dangerous.
there's no the 8th seed is fine for Graham.
Then we'll go on to the Eskimo brothers going for their late run again. So that 2 wins in a row. We got to 4-7, 84.78 against the Blue Toon Patriots. You're a 5-game losing streak actually after being 4-2 and joint top of the division. So it's a bit of a downward slide this one. So
Titanic springs to mind for the Bluetoon Patriots this year. You know, it's just it's been a bit like that. But I mean, how many years is John going to do it now? Last year it was, what was it, 5 in a row that he won to
5 in a row,
just miss
yeah,
out. 5 in a row
and
to
won the
just
number
miss
one
out,
seed. Yeah,
and then goes on, gets the number 1 seed. Number 1 pick by winning the consolations, and then he screwed that. He screwed that up this year. You thought, you know, he's sitting 2-7 after 9 weeks. You're thinking, Sean, how did you manage that? And then here we go. Here comes the customary late run, and that is another one that could maybe get in from 4-7. Absolutely, you know, the squad is pretty decent. It's not that he never had any early picks in the draft. Was a big thing that, you know, that hurt him. He didn't trade last year because he
no, he
was on
did. He
that big
got he
run, and
got
he had.
my he got my 4th round pick or 3rd round pick last year.
Oh, was that the tour year? Was
Yeah,
that was tour just last
that was
year?
the
Was it?
two because remember I needed a quarterback last year, so I had to give a pick away, a good pick to get a
Ah, right.
quarterback, which
Okay. So
didn't bloody
he
help me.
even did have
So he
an
did have
earlier
early
pick as
picks.
well.
He didn't
So
have as
yeah, it
many as
looked.
Graham, but he did have a few. So yeah,
But he's not. He's certainly not. You know, it's another team
but look at the
that's got a shout. He's
bench.
got Evans coming back. He's got Kincaid going to be coming back pretty soon. You know, Hubbard's back off bye. It's only been a bye. He's got Judy sitting there on the bench, who's, you know, very playable now. So it wouldn't surprise me if he makes that run again. But do you know what the thing is? I think there's going to be like 3 or 4 teams on 7-7, and it's going to come down to, you know, it's going to come down to whatever the tiebreaker is, you know. So it could lose, it could win out, it could win 5 in a row and lose out again, and that would just be that would be so comical. Which I'm not sure how I would take that, to be honest. But anyway, that's what we shall wait and see. But he has still got a shout. But I
Yeah,
think it's over for Chris now, to be fair. Not just because
yeah.
he's, you know, 4-7. It's not. He's still got the chance, and he's got T Higgins is back now, you know. But Mason's not going to get the touches anymore.
No, she
Singletree's
never didn't
pretty
get
much a
much.
goner. There's too many holes there, and he's got to come up against Graham's team, who's chasing that 8th spot as well from 4-7 that we've just discussed. And he's got to play Allen, who we'll see in a minute, is at 7-4. So he does have a couple of hard games to come, and he's got to win out. So I think Chris is going to be looking towards getting this team right for a wee run at the consolations and trying to get that #1 pick for next year. But he had his fun as well. He won his year a couple of years ago, and then he got to the Super Bowl, and it was a kind of 50-50. You know, it went to Tartan Bears, but you know, it was a Hammond year. So yeah, I mean, he's had his fun, so it's about time he had a wee bit of fun, a wee bit of spin round the consolations. Enjoy, Chris.
Then we'll go on to the boys are back in town, 74.98 up against the scheme team, 81.08. Allen's last year in the league. But yeah, another win, so that gets them to 6 and 5, up to 6th spot, and Ross sitting at 1 and 10. I think for a while Ross looked like he could have won this game as well, but I can't. When he had
this was the other Monday night turnaround, Johnny. This was the big Monday night turnaround. I can't remember exactly what it was that happened, but yeah, right up to Monday, it looked like.
Or was it Sunday night?
It looked like it might have been late Sunday night. Yeah, it might have been late Sunday night. What was the late Sunday night game again?
Was that the? Oh no,
no,
it was the Texas defense, 19 points. Yeah.
It was the 19 against the 2-point Cowboys. You know, it was that was a big turnaround. But yeah, I looked for all the money that Ross was going to get his second win here. You know, and it's as I said it in the report earlier. Every year there's one team that it just doesn't work for. You know, it's a 16-team league. There's going to be one team that just it doesn't work for whatever reason. You know, it's. And this year it happens to be Ross's turn, you know, so you take it and you move on to next year. But he's still got to play for that #1 seed. He's still got to play for those consolations. And of course, there's money to be won in the consolations. But I mean, he lost to Lavi early doors, and even before he lost him, he wasn't doing much. You know, he went with Leggett, who's really not kicked into it. I mean, I know he had a good game last time, and maybe that's him kind of coming. You know, he lost Tua for so long. He lost, you know, Tua went out for so long. It's Marvin Andrews was doing so little at the start of the season. These are all guys that he drafted early doors, you know, so it just didn't work for him this year. Shake it off, move on, try and get his #1 pick in the consolations and move on to 2025. For Allen, though, it's bittersweet. You know, he's now 6 and 5. I hope he makes the playoffs for his final year. It's a shame it's his final year, but he's certainly, you know, got a team to do it. For Estime in Denver, you know, Peyton always goes for a hot hand. So if Estime can start finding, you know, it was Williams this week, but maybe Estime next week, you know, every chance.
Connor on the bench, so
Connor coming back, he's got McBride coming back, he's got, you know, Akers is an option if he gets an injury. So the team is pretty decent. It's a bit like mine. It's a bit like mine where it's not one of the super teams, but it's solid and it can score. And you know, if you're up against the super team and they have an off week, you've got a great shout. You know, you are a team that can take advantage of that. So again, it's all, you know, at 6 and 5, he's very much favourite to make the playoffs. You know, one more win, 2 more to be sure out of 3, but one more win will at least put him in the reckoning.
Well, he's got me and Sean. Yeah. I can't imagine he'll beat Michael, but yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You have to do. You know, these are the games that you have to win in the playoffs. So you have to win them to get there too. That's the way it goes. And he's got to beat you as well, Johnny. You're not out of it yet, as we'll see soon. But yeah, it was a massive win, this one, and it was from nowhere, you know. And on Sunday night, when I was looking at the leagues on Monday during the day, it looked a whole lot different than what it does now, you know, with Sean coming back and stealing that win against Joe, making Joe 4 and 7 instead of 5 and 6, and me Alan coming back and stealing this one, and instead of being 5 and 6, and everybody being 5 and 6, you know, and 5 and 6 being right up to 7th place, it's now 5 and 6 only in 8th place, and there's a couple of 6 and 5s there to be shot at. But yeah, he's now very much favourite to get in, and with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, you got to think that he's going to get the one win out of the 3, and maybe a couple to absolutely make sure.
And obviously Sutton's getting all the targets because he likes to throw to Sutton, which I'm quite happy with him, the Orkney ball. Smith and Jigsa's getting all the points. A good kicker. But say you got Connor back from a bye, he's got McBride back from a bye, so he'll get put right back in the team. So yeah, they're looking
100%.
pretty good. So Eston will probably get dropped. You got to keep Eckler because she's been getting the catches. He just needs the touchdowns.
Even with Eckler's showing it, even with Robinson back and fit and running, he's still getting the touches. Yeah, Eckler's just fine. I wouldn't be moving him anywhere. And you know, in this league as well, it is very touchdown dependent. Often, you know, because there's no PPR, it's yards and touchdowns, and so it is. 81 points is a good score with no touchdowns. You know, that's a great score with no touchdowns.
Well, one for the defense.
Well, one for the defense, yeah, that's it. But
No.
yeah, you know, Eckler does score. Eckler scored quite a few TDs this year, so very much I would not be moving him out that slot. I would be keeping him in for the rest of the season, regardless of Brian Robinson being back.
Well, that's the thing. You'll be in a bye week when he plays me.
Oh, happy days.
Week 14 bye week. As will Jackson.
I mean, whoever done the scheduling this year, they just don't like fantasy football at all, do they? Why have they got teams on bye week in week 14? That's crazy going that late for buys.
Well, they've got 6 teams in a bye this week.
I know it's a lot for week 12 as well, but I mean, for buys to go to week 14 and it be in the final season of playoff here, that's going to hurt a lot of teams. You know, a lot of teams chasing playoff spots. But anyway,
I think it was the same last year. Like there was a lot of good teams that were on a bye the final week last year. Might have been the Bills or something. Yeah. So I've got to say, if Alan's still watching, we'll go on to my game now then. So they've got the Madhouse team in 86.10 against the Kirkwall Raiders 133.24. who were always projected to win, even though his little message on the sideline saying, "No, I think you might beat me, pile of shite."
It's a Doug Baxter move. He's been listening to Douglas Baxter too often.
I think it's because I got a shock defeat the week before when I beat Graham, but that was like 56-54. It wasn't a very high scoring game. But Ken, when you've got Joe Burrow in your team and he's throwing the ball left at him, what's that?
He scored well here though. I mean, I know you've been absolutely pummeled, but you've been pummeled. You've just ran into one, you know. You've just ran into a big one. I know it's not the best time to do so, but
look at that.
You've just ran
3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown. Yeah, and for the one time Brees Hall finally shows up.
Well, thank you. It will be very satisfying for Alan to have Brees show up and do that, you know, especially playing against you by the sounds of it. But it's but what he needs that to continue. He needs Brees Hall to carry on like that. You know, that's Alan 7-4 now, and it's
you're very welcome, honey.
He's top of the division, you know. But I mean, if Hall starts slipping backwards again, then you know. How hard are Cincinnati going to be playing in a couple of weeks if they're not in playoff contention anymore, which is very, very possible now. And not even that, how hard are Chase gets? See if Chase gets so much as a sniffle, he's not going to play because they've not paid him. And he's not going to risk injury and not getting paid. He needs paid next year. So he's not going to risk injury. He doesn't have to play another game. He'll get a mega contract next year. So if they're not in playoff contention and he's got so much to sniffle, he ain't going to show up. He ain't going to play. T. Higgins is the same. And that worries me for Burrow in the run-in and the playoff time, you know.
Yeah.
Lamb is exactly the same. Lamb's been paid at least. I think Lamb got paid, didn't he? Yeah, Lamb was paid.
Yeah.
So at least he's been paid, so he will play out. But with what thrown to him, you know, if it's Trey Lance is that bad, he can't beat out Cooper Rush. So that does not bode well for the Dallas Cowboys and any Dallas Cowboys offensive player, maybe aside from Dowdle.
I don't know. I think you'll be okay against the Giants defense on Thursday, like next week. But yeah, got Chris Boswell getting 24 bloody points didn't help.
Yeah, that's well, you know, when you can't score a touchdown, it's a good kicker to have for him, and that could be a big game changer for him. You know, Boswell going through the playoffs because
I do think it's quite funny though. The Giants lost to the Redskins earlier on in the season when the Redskins get field goals and the Giants did have a kicker and they scored touchdowns but couldn't get an extra point. But the amount of grief the Giants got for that, and the Ravens didn't get that much grief by scoring touchdowns and still losing to just a fucking kicker.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
what was it, 18-16? So I mean, it's a lot of kicks. You know, what's six
Well, I think
field
he had
goals.
7 kicks for the Wasps. Was it 7 or 8 kicks for the Wasps? Was it 24? Yeah. But yeah, because we didn't have a kicker. I remember he got injured in the kickoff
Nah,
when we played them.
but
So yeah, it was a bit of a crazy game. Obviously, it's a bit of a defensive struggle, but 24 points and 3 over 50 yards. Considering last week, McPherson couldn't hit a kick, Tucker couldn't hit a kick, Koo couldn't hit a fucking barn door, and
we're
this
all
boy comes
missing.
up from. Everybody was missing last week apart from Chris Boswell and Matt Gay.
It's crazy how it's went, but yeah, and as you say, you run into that, and it's I mean that's a 22-point difference in one position, and as we keep saying, in this league it makes such a difference, but it's all about the touchdowns, as you say, touchdowns, 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 touchdowns. Not all adds up to 133 points. It's a big week. But the big question for Alan is, can that squad continue with that form? I mean, look at all these guys you've got coming off bye week, though, Johnny. You're not giving up yet, are you? You're still in it at 5 and 6.
No, we're looking for this boy coming back in the field. Maybe this week, maybe next week.
I would say, I would think next week you're going to get him back, but you got to win this week to make it worthwhile. But you're far from out of it.
No, but I think I'm maybe playing the number one player team, if I remember rightly. But no, that's last week's games. We'll have a look at the tables. If it loads. So the North, we've got the Factory of Sadness at 8 and 3. Then we've got the Show Me the Packers at 7 and 4. Then Baxter We Trust at 6 and 5. And then you've got Varsity Blues at 5 and 6. In the South, we've got the Kirkwall Raiders at 7 and 4. 3-point lead over the Blue Toon Patriots and Hide and Zeke. And the boys are back in town at 1 and 10. Obviously, the Farts Flying Eagles obviously secured the division at 9 and 2. Second place, 5 and 6. Batman's Boobies up to 9th overall. The Cooper Badley Jets at 4 and 7. And the Tartan Bears at 4 and 7. Then the West, obviously, Lebanon and Prayer 9 and 2. Have all but sealed it because I think they've got a 2 and 1 record in the division. Or they might have 3. I can't remember. But then we've got the Scheme Team 6 and 5, and then 5 and 6 for myself, and 4 and 7 for the Escom brothers. And a late run as usual.
I mean, that's the thing. It's so close. Ross aside, everyone's in it. Everyone's got a great shout out. Everyone's got a shout out making the playoffs, and it's there's always one unlucky Ross this year. But everyone's got a great shout in it of getting in. I mean, I would say even at my 7 and 4, if I was to lose 3 games in a row, I might not get in. Because I could lose out in tiebreak. So yeah,
It's
it's
all
all
that
to
head to
play
head
for us.
permutations. Remember that was
And of course,
2 years ago. We didn't know until it told us who qualified because of all the head to heads. Because we had no
yeah,
idea.
absolutely none. It's always like, as you say, it's always like this. But let's not forget it's the divisional round of games as well now. So it's all again. So there's that little bit of added edge in the fact that it's all three divisional matches to finish the season. So that makes a difference as well. And there's 2, probably 3. With Alan having a 3-game lead in the South as well. So there is probably 3 already over type thing. This 3 out of 4, but the North is very much there to be fought for.
Well, this one's over before it starts. 89 to
No, it's
65.
not, Johnny. Don't be silly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I wish
it's one of those ones.
earlier on it said he was maybe going to play, but it's looking like he's not going to play now, which is a bit of a bugger.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're getting him this week. I think it's going to be next week. But
Some such
he is back at training. But it's you've got. It's not going to be easy, Johnny. Let's face it, it's not going to be easy. But Westbrook Kenny in there, I'm quite annoyed actually that I dropped him to agency after getting him in the trade with Sean, because I did make the trade with Sean, when I pick up Hawkinson, and he gave me Westbrook. Literally during the trade, right? He says to me, I'm wanting Hawkinson, he's wanting Mooney. I said, yeah, no, I'll do that trade because I've got other options at receiver, and I really could do with a different tight end. I'm not that happy with Kraft. I don't think he's, Musgrave's going to come back, and he's going to have good weeks. He's going to have bad weeks. I think Hawkinson will be more consistent. So I'll give you Mooney. I'm fine with that. And then he comes back to me and he says, "So what are you going to do with Kraft? You're just going to chuck him an agency?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, how about I give you Westbrook a Kinney for him?" And I said, "I don't care, yeah, if you want." Just, I was putting him in agency anyway. And then, of course, as soon as he landed, I dumped Westbrook a Kinney in agency because I knew who I was going for. I knew you'd drop Michael Wilson back in. So I was going to pick up Michael Wilson. That's what I was going to do. Bring in Hawkinson, drop Kraft, pick up Michael Wilson for an option. And of course, I've got Westbrook a Kinney instead. So I just dropped him for Michael Wilson. And then he goes and scores 20 points. So that's quite annoying, Johnny. And if he turns round and does it for you again this week, I might be quite upset about it. I'm not going to lie.
I'll be quite happy if he does it again. But I think I have over the last couple of years, I've always picked him up at some point in the season because I just like him.
He has a game every now and then is the thing.
It's just getting the
But
right
it's
game.
proper boomer bust. It's proper boomer bust, and this is the game. This is the game you need it to be a boom. You know, if you can get a boom week from him, you've got a chance. You know, but it is a
Need a lot
strong
of
team you're
booms.
up against. There's no getting away from it. But even at 5-7, you won't be dead. You'll just have to win your last 2 games.
Yes.
So this is a kind of freebie.
But we'll go to the other ones in my league then. Well, I'm guessing Sean's not looked at his team yet. So Alan's, yeah, well, bye. He's got Mayfield to come in, Hubbard
He's
to
got
come
me,
in,
and he'll bring in
Evans,
Hubbard, and he'll bring in. He's
Judy.
got Evans and Judy both there to come in. You know, so he had the White's a bigger problem than the buys. You know, he's got the players to punch in from the bench, and again,
Yeah.
but they're kind of all big games this week, aren't they, for everyone apart from Ross? But it's another huge
Well,
game in that. If Sean loses, he's gone. He's out. Bye bye.
Alan
So
set his team anyway. So that's it.
he'll set his team. There's no way he won't
No,
set his team.
Alan's already set his team. He's gone.
Oh yeah,
Jackson,
Alan will be
Connor,
done. Yeah,
Eckler, Sutton, Samuel McBride, and Smith and Jigba, Gay and Texans. I don't. Even if Sean changes his team, I can't see him beating that team.
I mean,
But
he's got plenty enough coming in. You know, it's I think he's got. Yes, Alan's favourite to win the game, and I'll tell you what, he'll really want to. He really want. It is such a big game for him because it gets squeaky bum time. If he goes to 6-6, he's got Michael still to come. It's proper squeaky bum time. So big game just to get him onto that 7-game win, where at least he's going to be in the discussion for he'll be in the tiebreak discussion at worst. You know, so it's a huge game for him this week, and he'll be all out to win it.
then we've got Grotty against Doug.
So again, you know, it's another 6-5 against 5-6 within division. It's a huge game. It's massive. You know, if Grotty loses at 5-7 with Sean and myself to come, it's a long way back. If Doug loses, it's 6-6 with Sean and myself to come. It's squeaky bum time. So a huge game. I would say more so for Doug than it is for Grotty because Doug's made all the Grotty's sold players. Doug's bought. Doug's in. Grotty's sold. You know, he's kind of half out. He's got 1 foot out the door already. But for Doug, buying, it's a big week. He really needs to win this game, and
This
he's
could be a
heavily
high-scoring
favoured to do
defensive
so.
game. When you've got the Steelers against Cleveland tonight, and you've got Commanders against Dallas. This could be a high-scoring defensive game. This one.
Very much could be. It's
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. It's both defenses are primed to go very well this week. So, and it could come down to that, Johnny. You know, it could absolutely come down to what defense does better. But
well, it's the thing. Like I've picked up the Steelers in a couple of leagues. So I think they'll do well, but it's Jameis Winston. He could just completely go absolute mental and give them no points, and then Dallas just needs to get their usual shite self at the moment against the Commanders. And Cooper Rush just get
thing is,
pummeled, and then that could change the game. But yeah,
but it could also be that I mean, the Steelers could concede 42 points and still the defense scores 19 points because Winston's throws 3 pick sixes to go along with him. You know, that's how crazy the Jameis Winston at quarterback
well,
is. So
I'm going to stay up at
I
least
mean,
watch the first half, even though I'm working in the morning, because I want to see a bit of it. But
Yeah, I'm going to try and watch it, but we'll see how I got on. Obviously not working tomorrow. But yeah, big game, and I really hope Grote beats him, and I really hope Grote beats him, not just because it's Doug, but also because it will help me out greatly. Because as you're about to see,
Yes.
I'm playing with
You're
Factory
up
this week,
against
so it's a tough
a bit
game for me,
close
and I
game,
don't
this
need
one.
Doug being 7. I don't need the two of us being 7-5 and playing each other. That just doesn't. That I don't need
You,
that in my life. I
you
don't
need
need
Ridley
that
to
week.
turn up.
But here's the thing: it's been 9. What is it? Nine long games that no one's beat me from the north. They're all on my mantelpiece, Johnny. But here you go.
Yeah, indeed.
Sean, you're kind of down off the mantelpiece. You're down for the show. You're going back on it tonight, but this is your chance to jump off the mantelpiece and live your life once more. Get the victory, and it's all yours. But the run that I've had against my North opponents, he's certainly a heavy favourite to do so. But I'm not giving up hope. I'm taking a wee Michael Wilson swing. I like them playing the Seahawks. I think that will be a decently high scoring game. So I'm taking that swing this week, and I've picked up the Dolphins. And I mean, my running backs pick themselves. So the other option, Thomas is on bye week. So the other option is that I put in Elijah Moore for tonight, and I've hummed and hawed over it, and I've actually put him in. I've got him in a few leagues, and I've put him in all the other ones, but I'm not put him in here yet, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to leave him on the bench here, but it might punish me because again, it's a Winston factor, isn't it? But the fact that they're playing Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh means I think I'm going to leave him off. But I'm
No,
lucky that I'm getting Sean this week because obviously he's got
they're in
Chase on the
Cleveland.
bye week. So,
The game's in Cleveland tonight.
oh, is it in Cleveland? Is it? Sorry.
I think it's meant to be crappy
Even
weather though,
still, though,
so I think
even
it's got
still,
to be.
it's.
Yeah, the weather's not meant to be great.
I'm happy to leave him sitting there on the bench and run with Ridley and Wilson this week. And of course, I'm running into Sean without Chase. Not that that's making much of a difference because he's still got Metcalf, Pittman to plug in there. And whilst Pittman looks like a bit of a dead duck, he is still Michael Pittman. He is still a very good wide receiver. And if Richardson can, find him, there's every chance he can go quite well. But yeah, so it's a huge game for me. It's a nothing game. Well, it's a game for Sean in that he wants off my mantelpiece for one, but it's a game for Sean in number two in that he wants to win the division. You always want to win your division. It's a nice way to go into playoffs. So as much as it doesn't make a difference to his playoff participation, he'll want the victory, and of course, I need the victory because I don't need the week. I don't need to be tied with Doug when I play him. I just don't.
That would be nice and interesting. Then you got the Kirkwall Raiders, 7-4, up against the 1-10 boys are back in town. So
I mean, this is the week that Alan nails the division down for sure. It's he's got a 3-game lead with 3 games to go, and he's playing the 1-10 boys are back in town. So, I mean, it has to be a win for Kirkwall Raiders, does it not? Is that not the way it's
well,
meant to go? Not in this
he's
game.
got Geno Smith at QB, and I'm pretty sure I had Geno Smith playing for me when I lost to Ross.
Well, no, did you?
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
quite funky.
I think he scored
He's
about
had,
8 points that game or something. And Arizona are a funky defence, like so. And you've got CD
he's
Lamb and
got some bye.
Ferguson with Cooper Rush.
He
You know,
must
for
have
the
some bye
backup.
weeks because he's got Ford in, and with Chubb being back, I think Ford's a
He's
non-event
got
now, so
Burrow
he
and
must have
Hall.
some. There you go.
Hall's on
So,
a bye week and Burrow. So it could be,
so
yeah.
I
He's got
mean,
the
it's a
division
good week
anyway,
for
like
Ross to run
so.
into him. It's a good
Yeah.
week for Ross to run into him with no Burrow and no Hall. But at 1-10, you've got to think that Allen's a heavy favourite. But these are the games that often go the other way. So
Tell me about it.
watch this space.
I
The
know.
division might not be over just yet, but this is Alan's chance to put it to bed once and for all.
Yeah. And we've got the Blue Toon Patriots against the Hide and Zeke. So
Well, I
it's
mean,
looking like
this is the absolute bona fide winning, you've got a chance, and losing, go home. You know, this is
Well, if
loser
you
goes
look at
home.
that team, you've got Daniels, Harris, Williams, Cup, Flowers, Komet, fair enough, Reed, Dicker the kicker, and the box, and then how you go? How are they 4 and 7?
It's baffled because he can't pick the right
Sorry,
starting
Alan.
lineup.
You were bragging earlier on about kicking my ass last week. I thought I'd bring that little reminder to you.
But yeah,
I'm
it's
not
very much.
bitter, but
No matter. No, Johnny's no better. Never. Johnny's. But I mean,
I'm still not forgiving
for
Craig about that. Oh, you're guaranteed to beat Ross in a fucking loss. Like,
he's, and
he's lucky.
do you
He's
know the
lucky he
only
lives
thing
in
worse than a
Edinburgh.
do you know the only thing worse than a bitter man? A bitter elephant who never forgets.
That's a joy to be commissioner.
But yeah, Graham's heavy favourite. Got to be, for me anyway,
Oh
he's
yeah.
heavy favourite. But it's
What's
if
the
Chris can
news?
find a win, it all of a sudden means he's very much in it, and Graham very much isn't. So if Chris can go and manage to find a win this week, then it would renew his hopes. However, I just cannot see it.
God,
I
I
think
think
this is the
Graham's
week that
bench would beat
Graham.
me this week.
I think this is the week that Graham finally knocks 100 out the park, and his players show up for him, and he gets that win that propels him towards playoffs.
Well, it'd be a good week for him because we know that why. So yeah. Then you got the Copenhagen Badley Jets. I'm guessing they've not done their team. 24 points up against the Tartan Bears. Oh boy, bye.
Well, it's the Jets and Mark,
Uh,
isn't it? So it's always going to be like that. But yeah, it's another losing. You go losing, you're definitely out. So big, massive game for both teams. If the winners got half a shout, and the loser, obviously,
well,
it's consolation time, chase that number one spot. But I mean, it's a 50-50, this one for me. There's holes that I think Joe's probably the favourite. He's got Amon-Ra there, but they're still pushing on all cylinders. He's got Montgomery there, he's got Swift there. Obviously, he's missing Adams and he's lost Davis to IR. Stroud can finally find a game. I mean, Tennessee defense isn't bad, but it's not outstanding either. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's very much losing. You go home.
the Battle of the Buys. Then you've got the Batman's boobies up against Graham. This would be a close game, actually.
So I mean, this is the one for Batman's boobies. If he can manage to fight, and don't get me wrong, if you look again, it's much like your game, Johnny, and that it's the freebie. He's playing the 9-2 team, and he is 5-6. All he has to, if he loses this one, he wins the last two. He's still going to be there, in the tiebreaker equation. So if he can manage to find a way to win this game, he'll be very heavy favourite to make the playoffs. And he's got McCaffrey back, he's got Nakua back, he's got Kittle back. His team's actually looking like a fantasy football team. When you think back at just a few weeks ago, he was starting at the start of the season. He was starting Miles Sanders. It was then kind of Rashawn Johnson's kind of been a plug in from the get go. But some of the backs that he's had in his squad as the weeks have went on has been absolutely crazy, and he's been winning games with them. So hats off to Ray. It might yet be the year of the boobies. And as for Graham, I mean, what's he playing for? Number one seed? Does he really care? I doubt it. So of course you're going to play your full team because you got it. It's competitive. You got to play it out for the rest of the division as well. But he's not caring one way or the other if he wins, loses, or draws this week.
No, that'll be the week. That's us for this week.
So here we go, Johnny. Week 11 now in the bag. 3 weeks to go. It's the divisional games. May the best team win.
For those who haven't seen it,
As you can
they
see,
are there.
You can see the three boys on the
There we
mantelpiece
go.
there. Again, just as a reminder, in the middle there, it's Carson Wentz. It's little Carson Wentz who's representing Douglas because, ginger for ginger. You've got little Le'Veon Bell over there in his Jets uniform representing Grote because, much like Grote's fantasy football form, he was shit at the Jets. And you've got Jim Kelly there representing Sean because, 2 4-time Super Bowl finalists. Although Kelly lost all his and Sean won all his, but that's neither here nor there. They've both been there 4 times, so
Yeah.
let's see if he can crawl off this week.
So what night are we doing it next week then? Because obviously it's Thanksgiving next week. Do we want to do it during the Giants getting humped?
Yeah, let's do it during the Giants getting humped. Let's just keep it where it is.
So we'll go for 9:30 next week. I think the Giants game kicks up at 9:25. We're going to be 7-0 down by that point. Obviously, I want to enjoy watching the Lions game because I think that will be a good game actually.
I think that'll be a good game as well.
I'm not too sure.
I think it's not a great one either. I'm not sure. I've not even looked up, to be honest, Johnny. I've got no idea. But Doug did say it was 3 pretty disappointing games for Thanksgiving. So I'm like you. I'm looking forward to the Lions Bears game. I think that's going to be a decent one.
I don't know. ESPN. I thought it wasn't a bad one for the late night one, but I could be wrong.
Either way, though, we'll do it. We'll do it during the Giants Cowboys and snooze fest.
It's Miami Green Bay.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah. Happy days!
I'm pretty sure.
Happy days. I'll look forward to that. So I'll be up for the late one too.
So it's not that bad a game.
Yeah, happy days. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah. So thank you for Martin for watching and Alan. I'm not sure if anybody else did, but yeah, it's nice to see some comments. I hope you're not working too hard, Martin. At least you can understand us.
Easy.
We don't need subtitles when you're watching, so we're all right. So, and good luck everybody this week, apart from
Doug,
as always.
Good night, all.